Here in New York, everybody seems to be stunned and shocked by the terrible news. News that flashed across the United States just over an hour ago. First, the news that an assassination attempt had been made on President Kennedy, as that motorcade that we got to know so well in Ireland during the summer, as that motorcade was speeding through Dallas, Texas. There then followed almost an hour of utter confusion with reports. The president was dead. The president was still alive. And then, 35 minutes after he had been removed from the scene of the shooting to the hospital, the news came through that President John Fitzgerald Kennedy was dead. The motorcade was going through Dallas, Texas, when an assassin high up over the motorcade opened fire, and a bullet struck the president in the head. President Kennedy slumped onto the lap of Mrs. Kennedy, who was sitting beside him. And she was heard to scream, "Oh no!" President Kennedy was very, very seriously wounded. Governor Connolly of Texas, the governor of Texas, was also seriously wounded, sitting in the same car. And it is reported, though not confirmed, that the Vice President, Lyndon Johnson, has also been wounded in the arm. The President's car rushed quickly to a nearby hospital, and he and Governor Connolly were brought to the emergency room. Unfortunately, the news came that President Kennedy had died. Before he died, he received the last rites of the church. And here in New York so often bubbling with excitement and joy and pleasure, here in New York, one has only to look along the streets to see how already it has hit the people of this big city. I was on the streets a few moments ago, and every here and there, groups around a transistor radio, and men and women weeping with the news coming over that radio that the president had died. The shock, well, it's difficult to explain just how suddenly the whole pulse of this big city seems to have been held in this amazing news that President Kennedy has been assassinated. It has been just reported that a man has been arrested, and it is said that he is between 25 and 30 years of age, and that the shooting was done with a .30-30 rifle. These are reports coming through, some confirmed, some not, but the horrible truth is that President Kennedy has been assassinated.
Kennedy, I mean, it's really stupid actually. Anybody that would really want to shoot the president who has done so much for us, for world affairs, and I mean, it's really critical this. I mean, what's going to be done now? Well, we can only wait and see. But his death is a really loss to the whole world, not only the United States.
I think it's awful about President Kennedy being killed. Though I think he had great confidence in himself and in the whole world, but I think it's really awful.
And your friend?
I haven't got very much to say, but I don't think it's very nice of them to do it. Just saying, I think it's a desperate tragedy though.
I think it's shocking. They could never get another man like him. I don't know, it's just really awful to see. He was one of our own, we felt. He was one of our own people. I don't know. He's gone now anyway. He's gone to heaven. So.
Thanks very much.
Shocking. I'll say a prayer for him. He was a terrific man.
I will too.
It was very tragic, and I'll say a prayer for him.
And put on the wireless. And I couldn't believe it. I could hardly get my tea down.
I think it's terrible.
But what's your reaction to the news?
He was so good, and he was good for everyone. I went down even to College Green to see him when he was coming in here, and And I thought he was so good, and it was in his face what he was. But all I say is the Lord have mercy on him.